Hello everybody out there in Flosstube world. This is Vicki, aka the Virginia Stitcher, coming to you with my video, Flosstube video number 54. I know I've been gone for a long time and I'm sorry about that, but I'm not sorry. I needed a bit of a break. I think my last video, let's see, I looked it up. Last video I did was on March 24th and not long after that, I think about a month later, I kind of lost my stitching mojo. And I didn't really stitch all summer. I did go to StitchCon in June and I did stitch, I did start a new piece and I stitched a little bit there on a couple of things. But other than that, I don't think I stitched it all summer long. And I just needed a break. I needed a break from, I don't think it's necessarily the you guys that put the pressure on me. I put the pressure on myself. If I'm going to be filming a Flosstube video, I want to make sure I have content for you. And in order to have content, I need to be stitching. And if I don't have the time to stitch, or I'm tired, I don't feel good, and I had for almost 2 years, I've had a back issue going on. My back is better, but it's not perfect. But it is a lot better than I was. I haven't been in as extreme pain as I was. I've done the physical therapy I do, and I still am doing massage therapy and just different things for my back, stretches and things that I have to do in order for the pain to not get too bad. But aside from that, what I wanted to bring you today was my plans video for 2026. I did get my stitching mojo back about, I think like August or September, maybe in September. And I have been stitching a lot since. I got right back into it. What was I doing in the summer when I wasn't stitching? I was actually knitting. I was knitting socks. I had always wanted to learn how to knit socks. I'm a novice knitter. I mostly used to crochet in my younger years, but I picked up knitting and I really, really wanted to learn how to knit socks. So I was actually doing that over the summer. I was knitting on socks. People say knitting in the summertime, socks are small. They're real small. And what I love about them, they're a great to-go project because you just need a skein of yarn and your little tiny knitting needles in a little bag and you can go and just knit. So I've been doing that. I am in a knit group that meets at the library once a week. So I get with those ladies and do that. But I am, cross stitch has always been my number one craft that I've loved to do since the 80s. So I'm back and I'm sorry I was gone for so long. I know Thank you to everybody who sent me instant messages, comments on my video, comments on my Instagram, that you miss me and all that kind of stuff and that you hope I'm well. And thank you for being concerned and letting me know that you really do appreciate my videos. Because there was a while after I did get back into stitching, I was like, I don't even know, how much a difference my Flosstube videos are even making. So I kind of played back and forth with, do I want to continue with them? And so many of you have reached out to me and voiced really missing my videos and wanting to see me back on Flosstube. So I'm back. And after a long hiatus, I am back. Let's see, I wrote myself a few little notes, of course, I always have to. So I want to welcome you guys here. This is a video about cross stitch. I'm just going to show you real quick, just a knitting thing. But other than that, it's going to be my cross stitch plans. So I have a lot of things to show you on what I plan on working on next year. Now, I've been thinking for the last couple of months on my plans. How do I want to attack my projects for next year? What do I want to do for next year? A lot of times I'm a sweetie, stitch what I want when I want. And that still will more than likely be mostly the case because I can't make myself stitch on something I'm not feeling. I end up finding reasons not to stitch and then I lose my mojo. So I do need to switch projects. I do need to move around. I need to do different things. But I also want to try to finish some things. I'm calling this year my Whip Those Whips year. So I was watching Pam and Steph a while ago, Just Keep Stitching on Flosstube. And Pam on Flosstube and on Instagram has discussed how she's not going to buy any new charts for about 5 years. And I thought, oh, wow, I've got enough to keep me busy the rest of my life. But designers come out with lovely things that I still want to stitch on, new, shiny, bright, new things. So I don't think I can do the total no buy, but I definitely am going to go on a low buy. I'm going to go on a no buy until April. In April, I go to Salty Yarns. That's in Ocean City, Maryland, or it's actually in Berlin, Maryland, which is about 10 minutes outside of Ocean City. I go to a retreat there in April, and I will plan on shopping at Salty Yarns. But until then, I don't plan on buying anything, because in April, we will have had market, and there may be 1 or 2 things coming out at market that I want to get. But I am going to try to be very selective in my patterns and things that I buy, because I honestly have enough to stitch for the rest of my life. I don't, I could be 100 years old and still have things to stitch. So thus the Whip Those Whips. I want to start less than I finish. In years past, it's always been starting way more than I could ever finish. Usually I only finish a couple of little things a year, and that's about it, 2, 3, 4 things. But yet I start 20 or 62 projects. If those of you who've followed along with me for the past several years, in 2024, that was the year I turned 62, and I was born in 1962. So I thought I'll do 62 new whips. And that kind of got spurred on by watching Jen Lee, 24 Hours of Cross Stitch on Flosstube. She decided that she wanted to do 222 whips because she was born on February of 22nd, and it was her birthday year, and she wanted to do 222 whips. And I thought, wow, that's insane. I don't think I could do that many, but I went ahead and did a lesser insane amount of 62. So I'm not going to do a complete whip parade. My next video that I'd like to do would be a winter Christmas whip parade and show you everything I have that I have started that are winter and Christmas, because I have quite a bit. So I need to break up my whip parades into chunks and maybe spread them out through the year instead of sitting down and doing 4 or 5 hours of videoing to do a whip parade. So very soon I want to do in fact, if I get a chance today, you may see me in the same outfit. I've got my Cross Stitch Society sweatshirt on. I ordered this, I think, off of Amazon or something. I may be in the same outfit if I get a chance to film again today. And I am going to dinner with my mom and her husband tonight. We are going to dinner. So if I get a chance when I get back, I know it'll be dark, but I'm hoping I'll have enough light in the room to film a video. This is my craft room. And so I want to come back, film a video, hopefully tonight, on my winter and Christmas whips that I have. And then what I was going to say is I am in my craft room. I am facing this big blank wall. People always say, I would have people say, what are you going to do with all that stuff when you finish it? I have lots of wall space. This is just one wall in my craft room, and it is completely empty. And it is probably, 15 feet long. And there's nothing on this wall at all. And the wall in front of me, nothing on that wall. And then there's spaces around the windows that there's nothing. I have one family photo hanging and a clock on this wall. That's it. That's all I have in this room. So I have definitely all the wall space. So what I'm gonna try filming from this direction. I'm right underneath my light, so I think it's casting a lot of shadow. So I tried to put a ring light in front of me. I don't know if that's gonna help with the shadowing enough. I hope so. You should be able to see my stitching good enough. But the reason I want to try it this way is I've ordered shelves. I want floating shelves on the walls in my craft room. And I haven't painted in here yet. I'm trying to decide on a color, but I wanted to paint first and put up shelves. But then my husband said a good idea. He said, why don't we just put up the shelves? You see if you like them where we put them. Then we can always take them down and paint later. And if you've decided you want to change your configuration of your shelving, we can go ahead and spackle the holes and replace the shelving somewhere else. But if you like it, we'll just put them right back where they were. So I thought, good idea. So I'm hoping by not my whip parade video, but maybe by the next time I come back in January sometime or the beginning of February to do a monthly update, to have some shelves behind me, and I can have some of my finished cross stitch up on the shelves behind me instead of this big blank wall. So that's my thinking, you know, because I'm always thinking. My husband, he treats me like I'm Lucille Ball. I say, you know what, honey, what I was thinking? He's like, oh no, here we go. What's been going on in that brain of hers? So that's what my plan is for this craft room, is to, because this is my couch behind me that's in my craft room. It's a small couch that we used to have in another room and bought a new couch. So this small one came in here. So my plans are to put up shelving in here. So hopefully that'll get done really soon, because those shelves are on order and should be coming in actually today, because they're just simple floating shelves that we ordered off of Amazon. I want white ones because I'm probably more than likely going to go with a taupe color on the wall. So let me see. So that's where we are in the scheme of things for that. Real quick, since this is kind of a 2026 planning video and somebody might be watching this for the first time, watching my videos, just want to introduce myself. My name is Vicki. I am the Virginia Stitcher here on Flosstube and on Instagram. And I have been doing videos since 2021, I think. I think it was 2021 when I started doing my videos. And this is video number 54, and today is December 30th of 2025. So we only have one more day. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve day. So I do have plans for that day too. So let me get started on my plans, because I have a whole lot to show you guys. First thing, that I said I'm going to call this my Whips Those Whips year. So that means I want to get a whole lot of work done. So I was thinking, what do I want? I want to try to get some finishes done. Oh, and speaking of finishes, I do have a few finishes to show you. So let me do that real quick. Hold on to your seats. I have some finishes. I actually have 3 sitting here, but they're little, so don't get too excited. This one was a piece that I finished, and they're all by Lizzie Kate. They're all her small Christmas little things. And I finished these up and had them sitting around in my Christmas decorations this year. And I finished a couple of things, but I gave them away as gifts to my mom and my sister. So I only have these 3 left. So I did actually have a few things, but I have 3 left for me. And this first Lizzie Kate I stitched a couple of years ago, and it's been sitting in my under the bed box, and I finally got it finished. I got it FFO'd. And this is Where's the Party? So I don't know if you remember seeing this before. I just made it into a little pillow. And I chose this fabric to put on the back that was in my stash. So I have Where's the Party? And I just stuffed it with some fiber fill and actually some of my orts. Sometimes when I need it to really get stuffed into the corners of my pillows, and then I just whip stitch the bottom down here after I stuffed it, turned it and stuffed it. I use my orts. I save my orts. Where are my, oh, my orts are holding you guys up on my iPad. So, but I have a jar, and I just throw my old raggedy threads in there, my little leftover pieces. And then I can also use them in my stuffing if I need to. So Where's the Party by Lizzie Kate. And this was on a piece of fabric I picked up at Keepsakes. The first time I went to StitchCon like 4 years ago. And I forgot the color of this, but it was really pretty bright green. And then I don't know what the fabric is for these. These are all Luganas. I do know that. But I don't know what the color of this one is, because this was just in my remnant stash when I cut pieces off of larger pieces and I have leftover little scraps. I keep them in a drawer in my closet, and then I go through my scraps when I have really small projects to work on. But this one was Be Naughty, Save Santa a Trip. So again, made it into a little pillow. Whip stitch the bottom down here. I didn't add any trim. They're just simple. I can always add trim later if I decide to. So both of these, and this one is Naughty Nice I Tried. And they both have the same backing. And they're just filled with the fiberfill stuffing. Nothing fancy. If I'm finishing things, it's not going to be fancy, unfortunately. I'm not that talented. That's why things sit forever and ever and ever in a day. That's why this thing sat in a box for probably 2 or 3 years, because I just didn't know what to do with it. And then I have a finish. I did both of these this month, earlier in December, and then finished them so I could set them out. So they only got set out the last week before Christmas, not long before. The other thing that I did finish just a couple of days ago, about 3 days, let's see, I wrote it on here. I finished it on the 27th, and this is by With Thy Needle and Thread, designed by Brenda Gervais, and I wrote on there my little sticky note that I finished it on December 27th, was this, I called it Frosty, but it's Jolly Happy Soul, and it's just I know that the ring light's kind of flashing it out. I picked up a little remnant piece of fabric that I had. It's another Lugana in a blue color. Not sure who the fabric dyer is or the color. And then I just picked some colors in my stash so that I could just start it and finish it. Because I picked it up and it just took, I don't know, 3 days to stitch. So there is my finish on, what was it, Jolly Happy Soul, which I call Frosty. It's hard to see the little snowflakes in here, but you can see them when at certain angles and with the light shining the right way. And I've also kind of played with the idea of maybe doing a simple little quick back stitch in this color down here around him, maybe before I finish him. And the little birds are 1/1 stitching. The rest of it is 2/2. And because this is probably a 28 count Lugana. Usually over dyed Luganas, I get 28 count. And then I put 20-25 down there. So this was my latest finish here. And the colors I picked out of my stash, just in case anybody wants to know, I just went into my closet. I have everything in there. The color for the word Frosty, the main color down here, I used Wood Smoke by Gentle Arts. And then for the red in the candy cane and the little birds, I used Victorian Motto Victorian Red. And then for the berries, all through the branches here, the little, I guess they're holly berries. That's what I'm going to say they are. I did these 2 colors. Got to sit here and think a minute. I did Classic Colorworks Nutmeggy for some of the lighter colors. And then I did Victorian Motto Antique Dry Dahlia for, I don't want to stuck to that, for the little bit darker berries. So those were my 2 berry colors. And then for the pink cheeks, because some of the stitches in here, you don't even need that much. That's why I want to just pull from stash. His carrot nose and the little tiny legs and beak on these little tiny birds were the only orange in here. And that I did was Southwest Chili by Victorian Motto. Because they're literally 15 stitches. So why buy a whole skein? You can even just pull a orange DMC color. And the pink in his cheeks was the only pink color, this pink color, and it's Clover, I don't know, by Gentle Arts, which was a light pinkish color. And then the branches, and just these couple of branches around him, I did with Gentle Arts Toasted Barley. And like I said, just pick up things that were in my stash that were leftovers from another project. And hickory sticks are his arms, because that's the only place that is used. And of course, I used B5200 DMC and 310 DMC, the black, because the black is just in his hat. And I think that's it. Oh, and his little shoes down here. That's it. So I didn't want to go and buy all of the called fors, you know, on the back of this, when the orange and the pink, the really light pink for his cheeks, and the black, I think they wanted coal or something. It's like, why, you know, you don't always have to do the called fors. You can look at what you already have at home, because a lot of us crafters have plenty of crafting supplies at home. So, and this was a remnant piece of fabric that I had left over from something else. So, you know, this project was quick, easy, and I'm going to keep this in my stash in case I decide to stitch it again as a gift for somebody. You know, my mom usually likes, she'll come and see my stitching and she'll go, oh, I really like that. And then I make myself a mental note, maybe I'll stitch that for her too. So I put the date I finished it, so I know I already, and I'm sure I'll remember I stitched this, but I've already stitched it and I just need to finish it. And like I said, you can pull from what you already have and go from there. You know, pull a little tiny piece of fabric for these little smalls. So those are my finishes that I did this month, except for the one that was from a couple of years ago that I just FFO'd. So that led me to thinking, as I was stitching on these things and trying to work on a bunch of smalls, is that I want my thinking for New Year's Eve day, which is tomorrow, what I want to do, because I know in the past, like, there's been Flosstubers like Stephanie and Pam and Kia B, that they'll do 12 new starts for the new year, 12 by 12, like do 12 things from noon till midnight, every hour, start a new project. And I thought, I'm going to do something like that, but a little bit different. And I decided to do all smalls. So what I did was I went through all the smalls I have and I picked out a whole bunch, found a piece of fabric, a lot of times it's remnants, to go with them, and any specialty threads I need. And then I also have a master set of DMC that sits on my dresser that's in front of me. I can go get one of the boxes and show you. I have 6 boxes full, and I have them in numerical order in these boxes on bobbins. That's how I've done years and years of cross stitch with bobbins. So bobbinating doesn't bother me. And then I have a master set, which there's quite a few pulled out of this one right now. But this one is the whites, blacks and ecru's and B5200s through the first numbers. And then I have another one, and they're stacked over there in order. So if I wanted to pull 310, you know, I'd go in here and pull it out, which it already is for something else. But I work out of a master stash. I keep a master set of DMC. And what I did a few years ago is I invested in these bobbins. Oh, what were they called? Somebody I knew had these. A lady, her name's Lacey, that I see at Ocean City when I go to my retreats. And you ladies that stitch at Salty Yarns know Lacey. She had these hard pip and chip bobbins. They come from England, and you can buy a whole set, and that's what I did. So if a bobbin is in a project and it's on one of these thick, hard plastic bobbins that have the numbers printed on them like this with the color, because they're even color coded. This one's a greenish color. This one here, you know, like a purpley color. So you can see that the colors on the bobbins even match the thread. So I have the whole set. If in my project I see one of these hard plastic ones, I know I need to re-put it when I'm finished stitching on that project. Like when I'm stitching on these smalls tomorrow, if I pull some out of my master set and I'm done stitching on it for the day, like, because I'm just going to pull each one up for an hour and try to get a little section done on it. And then then pick up the next piece and start it and see how many of these I can get started tomorrow. But when I'm done stitching on them, if I see that I pulled some out of my master set, then I want to put them back. And right now I have a dish. It's actually an antique dish. It belonged to my great-great-grandmother that's over there that has been, it's nothing fancy, but it's a family antique, and it's been repaired even where it had cracked. But it was probably my grandmother probably brought it from Germany. And it's just a plain white plate over there, white platter, small platter. And I throw them on that. I put them on there. And then eventually I'll go and I'll put them back in here in the boxes. But that's where I keep my master set so that I can pull from those whenever I don't want to kit things with all the DMCs, because I figured as many things as I have going, as many whips as I have, if I put up all the DMCs every single time in every single project that I start, I'm going to be, I'm going to have like 500 310s on floss drops or something eventually. So I don't want to do that. So I will, and for small things, like I said, like the Frosty, the Jolly Old Soul or whatever it was, if I only have I only need a tiny bit of orange or something like that, I'll pull an orange out of my DMC. I even have the DMC chart to look at, and then I'll say, 976 looks good. And I'll go grab it out of my DMC master list. So just a quick sidebar. Don't want to get too much into that. So tomorrow I'm going to see how many of these I can get started. I think I have 17 in here total of smalls. They're little things, just little, like this. They're not super big. They're under, I consider a small anything under 100 by 100. So if it's 50 by 70, that's a small stitch count. So that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. So I wanted to let you guys know that. That's my thinking for tomorrow. And then through the year, I want to see how many of those I can get finished. So I'm going to be working at pulling these up, because a lot of times, something like this takes like a couple of nights and you can get it finished. So like this one, I think it took me 2 days, because I started it in the middle of one day, and the next evening I pulled it up and finished it. So finished. Then I was thinking about, I've never done the blessing sampler. A lot of people in Flosstube do blessing samplers, and I've never done that. And I thought, God, I can't stick to anything long enough. I'm not monogamous. I have to move around. I'll get bored with one piece. I don't think I can do it, but I'm going to try it this year. We'll see. This will be the first year that I'm going to try it. And I'm going to see if I can get it finished in January. If I don't get it finished in January, because I picked a small one, a smallish sampler, considering samplers I've got going that are like 280 stitches by 195 or something. I picked out something that's been in my stash it's a chart that I've had for probably a few years. And it's cute. And I thought, it's not that big. It is 123 stitches by 161. So it's still a good size, but it's not humongous. So I'm going to see. And this is by Little House Needleworks. And this one is called Pine Top Lodge. And I thought, how cute to get this done for winter. Get this done in January. I think it's doable. And that's if I can keep, don't get all ADD and squirrely and run around and start stitching on a million other things. I still will probably break this up with the smalls that I start on tomorrow, on New Year's Eve day. I might pull that up in the evening and work on this during the day. Like try to work on these most of the day, and then maybe every other day, every other evening or something, pull up a small and work on it a little bit, so that I feel like I'm getting something else done too. So this is the fabric I picked. This was in my stash, but I have no idea. It definitely looks like a Picture This Plus, and it's a Lugana. So I'm guessing it's a 28 count, because I usually get 28 count in Picture This Plus, because their dyeing process plumps it up so much. Their threads are tight. It's not like a linen where it's looser weaved. So it makes a tight Lugana. And I like to stitch with 2 threads. I will do 2 over 2 with this. And this is a fat quarter So it should be plenty big enough to stitch my pine top lodge on. And I wanted something dark enough that the whites in this, the snow in this, are going to show. So that is going to be my blessing sampler for 2026. I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to see if I can do it. I'm hoping I can. That would be wunderbar. That would be so much, so nice for me to actually finish something like that quickly. So good luck to that, right? So I'm going to be giving that a go. Put that over there out of my way. So those are some of my plans for the next couple of days and in the month of January. Now for the year, this is what I'm planning on for the year. Like I said, I'm going to go on a no buy until April. I want to do less purchases and less new starts. And I want more finishes. So I want to have more finishes in 2026 than I start in 2026. So say I start 3 decent sized projects, but I finish like 7, at least that's, or even if I finish 4, one more finish than I started. That's my goal. Well, we're going to see if I can do that through the year. And I'm going to do a blessing sampler, my New Year's Eve day small starts. And then I want to do let me go to Whipgo. I'm going to try Whipgo this year. I think usually in the past, because I'm always starting so many new things, I don't ever get around to, I get to about May because of Mania. I've done Mania before and that has waylaid Whipgo. And then I've got all these new things I started for Mania, new starts in May. For the month of May, there's a thing that a lot of people on Flosstube and in the stitching community do that they call Mania, where they start a bunch of new things in the month of May. And I've done that. And so then usually my Whipgo goes to the side. I might be doing good through January, February, March, and April. And if you're wondering what Whipgo is, if you're new to watching Flosstubes and stuff and you have never heard of it or you've heard somebody mention it, go to Jessie Marie Does Stuff on Flosstube. And she will explain it. It's her brainchild. It's what she started years and years and years ago for herself. And when she mentioned it on her Flosstube, a lot of people wanted to join in. So now she does it. If you join her Facebook group, Whipgo, it should be called Whipgo 2026 now. Look up Whipgo on Facebook. You can join her Facebook group. I think you have to maybe answer a couple of questions to get in, just to make sure. She wants to make sure bots don't get on, which is a good practice. So, and then she calls 2 numbers every month, and she will have them. Sometimes they're on her video, her Flosstube video, but they're definitely always on Facebook, on her Facebook group. So she calls 2 numbers, and those are 2 projects that you work on. You make your own board. Mine is just simple, and I've actually been thinking about this for a couple of months. So I've changed my projects because I've changed my goals on what I wanted to do. So I just write what goes in each block. Then I number the blocks like a bingo board, 1 through 25. You have 5 across, BINGO, and then 5 down, and a free space in the middle, and that's going to be a new start for me. So that's one time I'll allow myself to start a new start. But the rest are projects that I want to at least pull out and work on a little bit this year. So I am going to be doing Whipgo. So, and then I'm going to do focus on a finish. And isn't this cute? This book cover. I ordered from Barbara John's Stitching with Grammy. She made me this and gave it to me. It is so cute. It covers what are they called? Those grammar school notebooks that kids have. It just covers one of those. And so she gave this to me. And that was just with some extra fabric she had. She made it. So I thought, how cute. So I'm using it, Barbara, if you're watching this, I'm using it to keep notes for my cross stitch in. So I want to do focus on a finish. And my focus on a finish, I picked 12 things to try to finish in 2026. And I'm going to show you what those 12 things are. They're whips I already have going. So those are going to be 12 of my whips I'm going to try to finish. If I can finish 7 or 8 of them, great. If I finish all 12, fantastic because some of these are a stretch. A few of these are going to be a stretch for me to finish. But these are 12 that I want to try to focus on and try to get finished. The first one that I have here on the pile is Winter Moon by Plum Street Samplers. I love this piece. Love, love, love it. And I'm stitching this on, it looks like a piece of taupe Lugana, probably 32 count because this is not an overdyed. If it's not overdyed, I do 32 count usually. And that's because I like to stitch with 2 threads usually. I usually do 2/2 on Luganas. And if it's overdyed, I do 28 count because a lot of times it's a tighter, it shrinks it and it's tighter. And my stitches lay really good on a 28 count overdyed or on a 32 count Lugana that has not been dyed. That's just a regular Lugana. So this one is a taupe Lugana, and that's how far I am on my, I recently worked on this one. I worked on this one the month of December some. So this is where I am. Started, you know, outlining this moon. I think since I picked this up, I did quite a bit. I did some at my retreat at Ocean City in December also. But I did this bunny. I finished the roof. I think I had it about 2/3 of the way done. I finished these windows. I put in probably half of these. I still have some more to fill in there. I still have some empty spaces. I already had all the mortar done, but I probably filled in half of the bricks and in the chimneys and put the chimney smoke in. And I think I put in like 1 or 2 of these trees. So that's where I am on Winter Moon. So I'm going to try to finish this one. As you can see, I still have quite a bit. I still have at least half the house left to go. All of that solid stitching at the bottom, and there's still some more trees, and of course the moon to fill in. And there's a fox down there too. So I still have quite a bit, but I love this piece a lot. I think I would love to see this one finished this year because I'd love to see this one out next winter in my displays in my house, my decorating. So, or up on the wall the rest of the year. Because probably in the beginning, when I don't have as much stitching still to fill up my shelves, I'll probably, when my seasonal pieces aren't being displayed out and about in the house, they'll be up here on the wall or one of these walls in here. The next piece is Seeking Refuge by the Scarlet House. It looks like this, a little crooked. I started this a couple of years ago. Let's see, I got a card here. On my birthday in 2024 with my birthday buddy, Maria. We started this Seeking Refuge. Now, I told her, she said she wanted to start it, and I said, that's great, I'll start it, but it's not going to be a stitch along because I don't know how long it'll take me to do this. And then this one has been sitting languishing. And then I thought, you know, this is one piece that I would really like to see if I can get done. Now, this one is a stretch goal because I didn't get a whole lot done on this one yet, as you will see. I'm stitching this one on a piece of 28 count Lugana by Picture This Plus in the color Legacy. And I love the color Legacy. It's a beautiful color. And this is how far I am. Actually, that is it. I got a hanging black thread down there. So I started underneath where that big brick house is on the bottom. And I'm not doing all the called fors. So when I pull this up, I can, you know, tell you more what colors I picked for this because this video would get too long if I go into all the details of all my things that I want to stitch on this year. So this is how far I am on this one. So if you can see, I still have quite a bit more to do. Quite a bit more. So this one's a stretch goal because this is solid filling down here. That's a good size house. And I've still got all the wording and everything else to do. But show it a little more up close. I love the variegation in the colors up here. This is really pretty. It looks great on this fabric. So that's how far I got on Seeking Refuge. And I'm going to see if I can get this one finished this year. Put this one aside. The next one is another winter piece. And this one I was just working on the other day. And I started this last year, I believe. And this is Santa Stops Here by With a Needle and Thread. You've probably seen this before. A lot of people have stitched this one or are stitching it. So I have decided to do it on a different fabric color than this. I am using all the called for threads, but my fabric is Rainy Day by Bestitch Me, and it is a 28 count Lagana. And here's how far I am. So I've got 3/4 of the border about done, the whole house done, except for the beads that go in the wreath, and there's some satin stitches that go in the door down here. Otherwise, that house is finished. And this year I went and I think I had the snow done to here. I did the snow across. I did some more of the border. I did this tree and filled in some of the berries along the border. I had some of them in. So I've done that much on this one. Love this house. I love a good brick house. Love it. And look at all those little candy canes in that tree. That is adorable. And these, because I had some of the this color left over, that's a tree trunk, and that's a tree trunk for some small trees that are scattered about. So I needed to do the Santa, the snowman, the little bit of trees, the couple of deer, and the rest of this border. And then, like I said, the little bit of satin stitches and put the beads in up here. And there's a little bow you tie on. You just do a little string bow with some DMC, red DMC, and make a little bow for the wreath. So that is hopefully going to be a finish coming up this year. Then the other one, and I have a lot done on this one, and I love it. And there's a bunch more of her Santas that I want to do. And this one comes out of this book. I'm sorry, I have a ring light in front of me because, like I said, I have a light over top of me, but it's like over top casting shadow, and I want to make sure I have light in front of me. So from her Hello Santa book, this is Teresa Kogut. She has a lot of Santas in here. Like, I really want to do him. He might be my next one. We'll see. But I am doing Right Jolly Old Elf in this book. So I'm doing the yellow coated one. I started him last year. And then I worked on him a bunch this year too in December. I took him to Ocean City, worked on him some. I think I finished filling in, oh my gosh, all this mustard color in his suit. I think I got his legs in, and I got a whole lot of this all filled in when I was in Ocean City. And I finished this little snowman up here too when I was there. So this is on a piece of 28 count Lagana by Picture This Plus in the color, I'm sorry, every time my nose itches. I know there's fibers around. 28 count Lagana by Picture This Plus in the color Doubloon. And this is how far I got on him. Look at him, isn't he adorable? I just love him. I love her Santas. So after I got back from Ocean City, I think I started on the little house that he's pulling along, like a little house on wheels, a little toy. And I was working on that. So I just need to finish filling that in. There's a snowman over here. And I think a tree and a moon on this other side. So, and a couple of stars. And that's it. So I really think I could get this one done this coming year because I love him so much. And I'm making myself not start another Teresa Kogut Santa because I have her stocking that's naughty and nice, and she's going to come out with, she had it at the Jingle Ball, which I didn't go to, Midnight Santa, and it's a stocking that she's going to do release, I think, at Market, somebody said. So I probably got to get that one too. So I'm looking at finishing this one this year. Look at his candy canes in his pocket. Oh. And the lady I was sitting next to at Ocean City, she just loved the little snowman in his sack. Now, I might have to backstitch this present. I'm doing it on the called for colors, but this dark green really fades in a lot with that dark gray. So the two dark colors together, I might have to do a little backstitch around that to let the present pop, maybe. So that is another one on my focus on the finish for 2026. The next one is one that I haven't touched in probably 2 years, and I have it half finished, and it's not that big of a sampler. This one is by, let's see, when did I start it? card here. 2023, January 20th of 2023. So it'll be 3 years ago next month that I started this one. This is by Blackbird Designs, and this one is called Winter is Past. It is a beautiful little sampler. I don't know why I haven't done this one. Too many things. Squirrels, squirrels, squirrels. Shiny and bright and new. But I want to get this one finished this year. That's another focus on a finish. I'm doing this one on a 28 count Lugana by Bestitch Me in the color Sand Dollar. And I'm using all the called for threads. And like I said, I have about half of it done. Look at that. Let me double this up so it's not so see-through. Now, there is no reason to not get this one finished this coming year. I'm really hoping to get this one done. Just look at all the beautiful blues and greens. And this Sand Dollar color is just perfect for the colors in this. I just love the color scheme, the way it's coming out. Excuse my wrinkles. I don't iron. If I ironed all these things, I would never get this video put up. So that's that one. And now this one is a stretch goal, this next one. But I really, really want to try to get this sampler up and on my wall. This one I started in, looks like it was a New Year's Eve start. I have hashtag New Year's Eve NYE 12 by 12. And I started this on December 31st of 22. And so that was 3 years ago. And this one is Rejoice Evermore by Brenda Gervais, or With Thy Needle and Thread. And I love this. It is gorgeous. And I haven't finished it. This one I am stitching on a piece of Zweigart Lugana and 28 count ivory Lugana. Because I wanted to start it. That's what I had in my stash that would work, that was big enough, because I needed like a half a yard for this one. And this is how far I am on this one. Look at this. So there's still a lot of stitching, because this is a good size sampler. Like I said, it's on a fat half, but I will have remnants to use for something else over here. I'll be able to cut off all of that. But because it's serged, I kind of was like waiting till I finished it, unless I need this fabric for something. So let me bring it in a little closer where you can see. I've got the whole top done up here. If you could see that. And then I started on this middle row. I've got most of this line border across. I probably ran out of the thread. I've got one thing started there. I've got the words Rejoice Evermore. Got one of the birds. I've got half of the bottom part of that house, the whole bottom little story of the house done. Need to do the top story and the roof. There are still 3 other birds, big birds on this. And of course the rest of the border. And then this is all ABCs in this little line down here. So this one's a stretch goal. But if I pull this up often enough, I'm hoping, because I love this piece. Well, I love a lot of my stuff. But I was trying to pick, I only can pick so many to try to finish. So this will be this year to try to finish. And I have a lot of other beautiful samplers, like reproduction samplers and things that eventually, because that is another whip parade I want to do soon, is my samplers. I've got a whole bunch of samplers that I would love to show. Let me put all this stuff together. Now, the next one is so old. I don't stitch on Crunchy Ada really anymore too much, unless it's like my full coverage pieces, which I only have like 3 and I barely stitch on them. And you'll hear about that later. But this is 16 count Ice Blue Ada that I started this one on February 17th of 2022. And this one is by the sampler company, Brenda Keys. And this one's called the Plymouth Sampler. Now my friend Lori Schickalone that does Once Upon a Stitch on Flosstube, she started and finished this one years ago, and it was just so pretty, and I thought, I really want to do that one. And it's not that big, but it is dense, 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 dense stitching. This whole border is completely filled in. This is all filled in. I mean, most of it is filled in with stitches. So like I said, the Aida is getting softer, and this is ice blue, 16 count Aida. So I'm doing 2/1 on this one. And the halfway mark is about right here, about on the edge of this blue house. But that's the heaviest stitching side too. So I picked it up a little bit, I think in November, and I was filling in a little bit more along the alphabet borders and here on the wharf. So, but on the other side are some tall ships and people, some more wharf, another tree. Oh, let me see if I can get the glare off of it. And the Anno Domini, I might switch it to the year I finish it. That's in Roman numerals, or Roman lettering. So yeah, Roman numerals. So this one is, I have to think about it, 19, I'm not real sure what the year is on that. I'd have to look it up. But I would have to, I'd change it to 2026 maybe, see if I can, and change it to the year I finish it. So that is, because like I said, I started this in 2022, and I love it, and I'd like to get it finished. So the next one I started, oh my, when did I start this one? Probably about 3 years ago. With a couple of friends of mine. I started it with Paula. Paulette's my previous mother-in-law. Paula and Cindy. We wanted to do a New Year's start about, I want to say 3 years ago. And we decided on This Is the Day by Plum Street Samplers. And I am doing most of the called fors, but I had to change a couple of the colors because I changed my fabric color. I'm not doing it on a color like this. I am doing it on a blue color. And this is Glacier by Picture This Plus. This is a 28 count Lugana by Picture This Plus in the color Glacier. And I've got threads in there with it. And this is how far I got. So let me bring it in closer. This will be a little bit of a stretch goal, but I love a good brick house. Like I said, they're fun. I find them fun to do. So, but there's a whole pot of flowers over here. And see, I wanted it in a color that my ram or goat shows up really good, because there's some more over here. Let me take this off of here. Get the glare. But you can barely see them. Like the one goat, all you can see is the horns. And then there's a couple, yeah, there's one, and there's a crow on top of him. Let me get the glare out. So I have to do this, all of this wording, finish that house. There's a sun and the whole rest of this flower pot over here. So I'm not even halfway done with this one. And Paulette Stewart, Plum Street, she makes you work for it, as people say, and she does, but her pieces are gorgeous. Her houses, are not tiny, but they're beautiful big houses. And I've just changed a couple of the colors for in the border, just so it would show up on my blue better, with my blue stitching. The next one in my Focus on a Finish is by Barbara Anna Designs, and this one is A Love Never Fails. This one I saw by Stitching Faye. Heidi, she's Stitching Faye on Flosstube and on Instagram, I believe, too. I know definitely that's her Flosstube handle. So I started this one when I saw hers, and I'm doing this one on a 32 count Vintage Country Mocha Lugana. And I don't know when I started this one. I don't think I wrote it down. It was a couple of years ago, though. At least 2 years ago. Probably 2.5 years ago. And that's where I am. That's where I got to. I got the lady finished, and the guy has legs. There's one cat. There's another cat on the other side. And then there's this whole big flower cartouche with all the wording in it. And I still have to fill in all the, finish him, fill in all the color around the diamond pattern at the bottom of him that he's standing on. So I hemmed and hawed about the skin color because, I mean, I'm pale. I'm a pale white girl, but not that white. But it's folks artsy. So I left it. And my husband is definitely not pale. But his little guy's going to be pale, the little guy on this is going to be, because I'm going to put our year we got married and our initials at the bottom on here. Yeah, but my husband's brown skin. He's not white. He's definitely not that pale. If I'm not that pale, he's definitely not. So that's another one that's going to be, but there's quite a bit of stitching still in it. And this next one also. This next one is a Plum Street. And this is the, oh no, I think I have a couple more, 3 more. Because like I said, there's 12 focus on a finish pieces. So this one is by Plum Street Samplers, and this is Ghoul Tide Welcome. And I love this piece. I'm doing this one on an overdyed by Picture This Plus Ada. So it's a soft Ada, so I don't mind it as much as the crunchy Ada. And I think it's a 16 count Ada by Picture This Plus called Ale. I'm doing all the called for colors. My black, though, I'm using a Silks for You black. I had a big hank of black. I think it's PR070. But this is how far I am. And I was working on this fall. I pulled it up, a few different days. And I got all, I think I had like the door in, and I think these 3 windows here, because I was starting to put a couple of these flowers in. So I came in and I outlined the house, did all these windows, and filled in all this black, because I think I had just a tiny bit of black down in here. So I filled in the black, and I did, I think I just had Ghoul. So I put Tide, finished the word Ghoul Tide, and I think I had the white filled into maybe about this G or something, and the green grass, I only had part way. So still working on that. That's a lot of fill in, a whole bunch of fill in. But that house, when I just need something that's fill in, just work on it. But I've got a lot of the viney flowers to still do over here. And actually this border is fun. It's not a hard border. It doesn't change colors 50 million times, so it's not that bad. And then I still have the whole other side on the other side of this house too. The little witch and her horse and this tree and the moon or sun or moon or whatever that is. Yeah. So quite a bit still on this one, but I'm going to push and see if I can get this one finished next year. Even if I don't get some of these finished, if they get so pushed far along that I can finish them next year, the following year, not next year, but 2027. If I say, oh my gosh, I got it, like I probably stitch on it a week and I can have it finished. I didn't get a chance to get it all finished in 2026, but I definitely can in 2027. Then I'm going to keep it on my focus on finish more than likely. This one is White Pumpkin Farm by Plum Street Samplers. I'd love to get this one finished. I have switched out quite a few of my colors on this one. I think I was stitching from stash, like I did with the little snowman by Brenda Gervais I finished. Sometimes I just go and I look at the picture and I say, okay, for that barn I need a pretty, burgundy-ish, reddish, orangey red or something. And neutral color for the background behind the crows up here. This one is on a piece of wheat Lugana, 32 count by Zweigart. And I did pull this up and work on this some this fall. So I got quite a bit more done on this. And this one's not that big. This is how wide it is, and that's how long it is. But this barn goes most of the length here. So there's still quite a bit of that to fill in. And a bunch of pumpkins next to the horse. And there's a big pumpkin on the roof with a long vine going along the top. But I did get all of this filled in this year because I think I only had it done up to about this second crow here. So I put in all of the elements And then I went and I filled in one day, and I got the border most of the way around, that checkerboard border. And I did all of this down here. I don't think I had any of this in. I didn't have the horse in. So, but that's how much more I still have on this one. You can see that. So we're going to see if I can get this one finished. Big goals, big goals. We'll see. Like I said, I'm not going to get bent out of shape if I don't finish all of them. Like I said, if I can finish 3, 4, 5 of them, great. At least that's more than I've done in years past. But quit starting so many things. I'm going to really try not to start so many. Now this one is a fairly recent start. This one is a very colorful piece, and this is the first one I'm doing by this designer. Her name is Robin Pickens, and this is Courier Duo Summer Blue Jays. And I just love the colors in that. So I started this one, and I want to see if I can get this one finished because it's not super big, because I only worked on it, I don't know, a couple of evenings, 2 or 3 evenings. And this is just on a piece of, it looks like antique white Lugana, probably 32 count. Oops, that's the back. And I came in and I did this much. So I got this border part done here, the word summer. Started working on the bottom border down underneath. And like I said, that's a couple of evenings. Those big flowers are going to be probably most of the stitching in this. But this was going quick. I think I did that in an hour. So I can finish this border down here in no time. Then there's a couple other little things around the border, and then a couple of birds, and then, of course, these flowers. They're going to take a minute. But I thought this was really pretty. And I don't have that many, just really pretty summery spring or summer pieces. I work a lot on fall and winter, Halloween, Christmas kind of stuff. So those are my focuses on a finish. It looks like I'm just over an hour. The other thing I wanted to do for this year that I wanted to concentrate on, so I've got it covered with my board here, is 2 other things that I wanted to do. One is my full coverage, what I'm calling full coverage pieces. And I picked 6. These are big pieces that are either full coverage or they're kind of monochromatic, but they're large pieces that I would really like to see not necessarily finished. If I can finish any of them, that would be awesome. But I really don't see getting any of them finished except for this first one, maybe, if I pull it up enough times. So this first one is Dasher and Dancer by Hobby House Press. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of people working on this one this year. I started it, I think 2 Christmases ago. Didn't work on it very much because this might have been one of my 62 new starts. So I got it started, worked on it a little bit last Christmas time. And then I pulled it up and worked on it a little bit more this year. I am stitching mine with DMC 815. So it's just a red 815, 815. And I am doing it on, looks like a piece of maybe platinum Lugana. And this is how far I am. So I'm halfway across the top. And have some of the motifs on the left side. I started in the upper left corner. So this is how far I am on this piece. So if I can pull it up regularly and put some stitches in it, try to, get it up, pull a piece, one of these pieces up at least once a month and get some stitches in. And maybe this will be one that I'll try to pull out on the 25th for 25th stitching for December 25th, through the year, and see if I can get more of this one, a lot more done. This one could be a possible finish for next year out of this category. The rest, I highly doubt it because they're huge and there's a lot of stitching left in them. I mean, that one's big too, but these are huge. So this one is by GGR. Let me see if I can find it. Looks like I started this one in January 7th of 2024, because I restarted it because I didn't like the color I was using at first. This is on a piece of 32 count Lugana in the color Silvery Moon. And this is how far I am. This is, oh, I didn't tell you. Do I have it? It's letter V by GGR. I try to take everything out of the bags, and evidently on this one I didn't get the picture of the pattern. But it's the letter V by GGR, and I'm doing this with the DMC color 121. It's a variegated blue DMC, 121. And that's how far I am. But this one is huge. I mean, this piece of fabric I needed for it is humongous. So, I mean, it pretty much does go all the way across. I don't think it goes all the way to the bottom, but pretty close. So, I'm not sure what the stitch count is on this one, and I'm sorry I didn't have the chart. But so this is one that is a monochromatic. Like I said, I'm doing it with this DMC 121, and I have several skeins of this to use for it. So a lot of stitching left on that one. So if I could push this one along, though, that's the thing. They sit in a bag and I work on other things. I think part of it is I know I can't get it done anytime soon. So my goal, my kind of want to stitch on these things sometimes gets waylaid by things that I can get a lot more progress on and get closer to finished. Oh, my nose is itching, sorry. So that's why a goal for this year is just try to get them out kind of regularly and stitch on them and see if I can get some progress on these. This next one I started in, well, I had to restart it, but it's pandemic. It came out in 2020 during the pandemic by Long Dog Samplers, and a lot of people have stitches. Actually, Jen Lee from 24 Hours of Cross Stitch just finished hers. She did hers with multiple colors, multiple colors. Looks like a tapestry, colorful tapestry. Mine I'm doing with PR181 by Silks for You, and it's this variegated color. And I'm doing this on an 18 count Ada by Seraphim Fabrics and called Age Paper. Is it Seraphim? Yeah, Seraphim, no, Old Stationery by Seraphim. So it's an 18 count Ada. It's a soft Ada, so I don't mind it as much. Oops, I already had it all folded nice. And I'm not that far. I started it over a couple of years ago. Because I was doing it on a purple, white Ada with purple color, and purple variegated. And I thought, no, I want more neutral. So that's how far I am in the whole scheme of that pandemic. So I doubt I'll get this one finished, but I really want to push this one along a lot farther because I am way up here in this left-hand corner. I've had this done. That's it. Out of this whole piece, I have that done. So I want to see how much farther I can get on this one. So I'm going to take pictures of these things today before I put them away so I can see how far I actually get at the end of next year on all of this. If I continue this, because you know my plans always change. These next three are full coverages. These are all three from Heaven and Earth Designs. This first one is by Andy Russell. This is the largest one. It's called Hidden Harbor. Looks like that. It's very colorful and pretty. Love it. Started in the upper left-hand corner. So basically, I'm up there in sky. So it's kind of boring. So I'm thinking if I can keep pushing along, you know, once I can see things take shape, take form, it'll probably make it more interesting for me. Because the problem with full coverages is they take forever for it to look like anything. So these are not going to be things I'm probably going to show you all the time, but maybe after I get like 10% progress or something on it, that looks like something, because that's it. That's where I am. I have like maybe somewhere close to about 2% done. That's it, like 1.6 something percent done on my tablet, because I am doing this in Pattern Keeper. I'm doing the 3 full coverages in Pattern Keeper. So it's just sky. It started with that purpley part and goes into the dark blue. And this little bit of green here is the very edge, which is close to the middle of the top, is that little bit of green at the top of the land up there. So, but if I could get like where I get you know, this sky finished in here or something where I'm starting to pull in like the mountain, and that would be nice. I started this on April 2nd of 2023. And it's on 16 count white Aida, and I'm stitching 2/1 full cross on all of these. I started things over because I was trying half cross, I was trying, you know, smaller count, and I'm more comfortable stitching on 16 count 2/1. This next one, this was the first one I actually started. It's my medium size piece. Well, what was the count on that one? This one's large. Well, there are larger ones. But this is large for me. This one is 425 stitches by 318. So we'll see. But if I don't pull these up, because I don't hardly ever pull these out because I'm working on my samplers and everything else, I thought if I could just try to pull these up once a month and put some, you know, 500 stitches in them or something, you know, something, so they're getting somewhere. This one was my first one that I started. And again, 16 count, 2/1, full cross. This is Bonded by the Rain, artwork by Leonid Avramov. And this one is 252 stitches by 460 stitches high. And I'm probably somewhere like 1.25% or something on this one. So I've started in the upper left-hand corner, and most of that was dark color stitching. That all kind of blends together. There's purples and reds and all that in there, but it's hard to see because they're so dark. Because I'm gonna look forward to getting down here into the brighter colors. But this is that dark splotch. And like I said, I think that's my problem. It's hard for me to be motivated on these when they don't look like anything. It just looks like a splotch. So it takes a lot of work to get some motive, you know, to actually make it look like something. Oh, there's a house, there's people, there's something in it besides just some splotchy colors. This one is called A Real Snow Job. And I started this one on December 28th of 2024. So this was my most recent one I had started. I started a year before. And this one is artwork by Jane Wooster Scott. And it's called A Real Snow Job. So this is a mini. And when they say mini, they're talking 275 by 231 stitches. And again, I started in the upper left-hand corner, but I worked my way to where I could count down to get to the top of this, like this little bell tower on this house, this first building. So that's what I did. And it's probably like 1.25%. Just a bunch of gray in the sky and the top of that house. This one I'll be able to get into because it's a mini, so there's not that much background, not as much. You get into the trees and the roof here pretty quick. But then again, that roof is white stitching on white fabric, so that's going to be fun for a little while. That's going to look like nothing. But I thought this was really cute. By Jane Wooster Scott. So that's that category. I just want to see if I can push these things along a little farther this year, instead of them sitting on my shelf in their project bag and not getting touched at all. My last category is some focus pieces that I, again, just want to get. They're not the full coverage ones. These are regular. But these are ones that I want to, they're big. They're large. And I just want to see them get pushed along. I got to go make sure I have time to get ready for dinner. And don't want to ignore my time. It's 2:30, so I still have a couple hours. So I restarted this one. I love it, but I had started on Crunchy Aida, was hating it. And it was on a plain piece of Aida, like an off-white. The white stitches were just kind of fading in, and I was like, ah. And I kept hemming and hawing. Do I want to restart it? Do I want to restart it? And then I kept seeing people like Pam from Just Keep Stitching, her piece on a different color than the called for, and somebody else just recently too. And I said, you know what? That is gorgeous on a bluey gray color. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Forget it. I'm starting it over. So what? Because I want to love it when it's finished. Love, love, love it. Because it's a large piece. This is Land That I Love by Teresa Kogut. And like I said, I had started it before. Get those all out of here. And it looks like this. And I was doing it, this one is like tin roof or something. What is this stitched on? Weeks Dye Works, yeah, tin roof. And I didn't have that. And at the time when I started this, I had a lot of Aida, just the crunchy Aida. So I took a piece of crunchy Aida out of my stash. What I don't care for as much now that I have discovered Luganas and things, you know, softer fabrics, is they're so crunchy and so hard that when I do stitch on them for a while, like I was stitching on, you know, if I stitch on one of these full coverages that's on this crunchy Aida, after a while, my fingers get sore where they're pulling the needle in and out. My finger starts to get sore. And even though I use a smaller eyed needle, it still kind of pulls every time. It kind of pulls and catches every time I'm pulling my needle through and then back down and I'm pulling. I have to kind of grip the needle harder. So it's a little hard on my fingers. Not super. It's not like, oh my God, I'm in major pain. But it's not as, you know, after a while, my finger gets sore. So it's not as enjoyable. So Land That I Love, I restarted this not too long ago, just this fall, I think, or something. November 2nd of 2025, I restarted this on a piece of Lugana, 32 count Lugana, by Those Missing Stitches. She has some beautiful fabric. You can find her on Etsy. And this is Startling Steerforth. So this is one of her bluey gray colors. And so that's how far I got. Let me fold it down. This is where I am on this one. So I restarted across the top. And I had a good amount done on the other, but I'm loving it on this color. This one's much more enjoyable for me. Not opposed to Aida. I think Aida stitching can be gorgeous. I did several things on Aida. Several. And I still have some on Aida, but I prefer the softer Aida now. It's just my personal preference. So another one that I want to have a focus piece, not necessarily focus on a finish, but focus, is my One Nation by Bygone Stitches. I haven't touched this one in probably almost 2 years, or very, very little in 2 years. This one I'm stitching on a piece of 28 count Lugana by Seraphim Fabrics in the color Haunted. And I picked this up when I was at the Steel City Stitchers Retreat years ago in Pittsburgh. And this is how far I got on this one. I wanted it to look old. So this is how far I am. And with this year being this coming year being our semi-quintennial, our 250th anniversary of our country, I want to get a couple of, a lot done. I'm hoping to get a finish on this. We'll see, but I really have to focus on making sure I'm pulling this up quite regularly and getting some done on it every single month. Because I still have all of these. This star filled is put in the bones of it, but I have to still fill in all of these little star flowers for all of the 50 stars for the 50 states in a flag. And then, of course, I live in Virginia, and me and my husband were married, live in Virginia. And my husband was born in New York City. So when we get to my state, I was going to do mine in yellow. But I still have all of the stripes that go underneath the star field. So I still have to fill in all of that and fill in this. But I'm close to half done on this one. So we'll see. And I'm doing this one with the red is Silks for You PR126. Oops. If you can read that. It's kind of a variegated red. And then my blue is Delphinium by Victorian Motto. And I think I'm almost finished with the blue, if I'm not finished with it. And my white-ish color is Ecru by DMC. I think I might be done with the blue color. I might not need it anymore. I might put it back in my stash to use for something else. But I think I have one more state on this red line after Mississippi. And I started Alabama and Maine under there. But got all these other states in. So this is another one that's going to be a focus piece for this year. At least in my plans. Because if I could get it done, that would be awesome. I already know where I want to hang it in the house. You know, I'm making a patriotic hallway right out here outside my craft room. And that's, I want to hang it there. And did I write down when I started? No. I don't have that information. Okay. The next piece is one that I started a long time ago. It is by Ink Circles, and I started on May 22nd of 2021. So this May will be 5 years. And it is Cirque de Caro. Someone has all like the triangle shapes through it. What is that? I don't know. And I am stitching this on a soft Aida. This is an overdyed Aida by Picture This Plus in the color Tycho. It's a 16 count Tycho, Tycho. So it's a very softly colored off-white. And I'm doing it with Silks for You PR094. It's a variegated color by Silks for You. And this is how far I am. So I think to right here was a sixth of it. I think there's 3 pages across and two pages down. I think there's 6 pages altogether. So I only have like 1.5 pages done on this in 5 years, or it will be 5 years in May. So 4.5 years, say. And there's no reason why this can't be finished. I mean, I don't know if I can get it finished, but let's see how much more I can get done on this one. Okay. But some of these, like I said, I'm pulling these out because these are things that have been sitting and languishing, but they're very pretty and I really like them and I want to get them done. But too many new shiny things. So now I'm trying to say, go into your stash, Vicki, go into your whips, look at what you have, what you started 2, 3, 4 years ago that has been sitting there while you've been stitching on new stuff. And let's see if we can pull some of this older whips out and get some work on them. So this one is by Teresa Kogut. It's called Newcastle Bouquet. And I had started up here in the upper left-hand corner and I worked myself across the border a little bit and I was working on this bird and I had a mistake in him somewhere. And I set it aside and I didn't mess with it for a long time. Finally, I pulled it out and I said, you know what? Let's find the mistake. Let's figure this out. What's wrong with this bird? And I finally figured it out, fixed my bird. And now I'm happy with it because now I can move along. So I did work on this some this fall. And I'm doing this on a piece of 32 count wheat Lagana. I didn't unfold him. And I've got a nice big piece. I don't think I need all of it. But this is where I am. So finally, he had a mistake somewhere in his body right here. And I figured it out. I was off somewhere on a row or something, and I figured it all out and got him restitched and figured in. Got his wing in, got his beak. I came down and I think I did these letters. This flower started. I did a little bit more up in here, filling in some of that in the border because I need to come in and make sure that every time I pick this up, I work a little bit in this border because this is a repetitive border. It does this over and over and over and over and over all the way around the piece. Beautiful, gorgeous. But if I don't keep working at it every time I pick it up, it's not going to get done. You know, because I will finish the middle and go, oh my gosh, I have to do that repetitive. It's not bad. It's not a difficult border. It's just, I'm one that I don't want to stitch the same flower 500 times in a week. You know, I don't want to sit there and just stitch the same thing over and over and over every time I pick something up, like every day. No, I have 2 more. So this one is when I started with Cindy and Paula and Madeline, like 3 years ago. This came out in the market, and it's Let Love Rain by Teresa Kogut. Tara Sully Stitches finished this one this year, earlier this year, and framed it. Oh my gosh, that girl can finish some stuff. She's like my hero, you know, because I'm like, people like her, I'm like, oh my gosh, how does she finish stuff like that? How does she just like pull it up and finish it? She's got focus. I don't. My mind, I just can't focus. But I have fun, so that's what counts. So it'd be nice to be able to get some more things done. This one is on an ivory Lugana. I think it's 28 count, which is going to make this really large because 28 counts was what I had in my stash at the time when I started this a few years ago. And I got pretty much the top done. I think I still have to come and see this over here. Mirrors over here, so I need to do that. But the flowers are done along the top. I'm 1 stitch short coming across the top. So I've made a note to myself that when I come in and do these borders, and that's why these borders are going in, so I can remember that they're 1 stitch short. See how this one here didn't quite, this one's 1 stitch away and a full like chain in the chain stitch here, and that one's not. So when I came down to the next row, I didn't make it 1 row away so that it would fit, but in the scheme of things, you're not going to notice that. But because I pointed it out, I know it's there. So I still have, I came and I did the border all the way down. So my border met, I made it meet. I skipped a stitch somewhere because while I knew and remembered that I had a stitch short, because I was not going to pull out all those flowers in that border. I thought, let me make this work. So that's what I'm working on. I think I have one more small border down here at the bottom to go across still. This one down here. Well, actually 2 of them it looks like. They go around the alphabet down here at the bottom. But I've done this one, this one, this one. And I've made the border meet. So once I do that, I'll have all the bones of this one in. And then I'm just going and I'm filling in where it needs. But like I said, I've been working on this for 3 years and got a lot more work to do. A lot more work. So I'm going to try to regularly pull this one up because this is another beautiful big piece that I loved, absolutely loved it. Couldn't wait to get it. That I need to get finished. So that's where that one stands. And then the last one is another one that was a exclusive. The first time I saw it was when Lisa, the Kindred Stitcher on Flosstube, she stitched it, finished it and everything before it even came out to the public, to everybody else, was Live on Little. And when I saw her doing it, I said, I absolutely need to get this one. This comes out at market and I need to stitch it. Well, started it probably a couple of years ago and I'm still not done with it. But look at all that heavy stitching. This one's a big piece. It is 307 by 207. So it's a big piece. I am stitching this on a 28 count Lugana by Still City Stitchers. So this is a Jody fabric, Jody Favish with Still City Stitchers. She does not, or she used to not, I don't know if she does anymore or if she's even dying anymore, I'm not sure. She didn't name her fabric, so there's no name on this. It's just a nice neutral fabric. Like I would liken this to, I don't know, like a picture this plus, or those missing stitches. People like those, you know, make colors like this. That's how far I am. That's it. I got my initials in the flags, VHU. So I did the initial flags because there's a page in the chart that has all the flag alphabets, A through Z. And then I did a little bit of that beautiful brick house. I'm trying to get this bottom filled in. And there's all that water to fill in around that sailboat too. There's actually a lot of stitches. I don't know how many thousands of stitches I already have in this, but yet I still have a whole bunch to do. So this is another focus piece. Because if I can push it along really far, maybe in 2027 I can finish it if I don't finish it this year. So I had a piece of blue thread that was probably what I was stitching with when I put it away. That was folded up in this. I need to put it back in there. Fold it in there. Get in there. Wait, I've folded in where I can find it. There. And that's on a bed sheet too, because that's a nice big piece. And it, what I already said it was a 28. Wow, count Lugana and no name. So those are all my goals, my stitching goals for 2026. The other plans I have for the year, I already told you about Whipgo. Now, on top of this, because I do have so many, I'm looking at my cubbies here that have all my whips just sitting there all lined up, looking all nice and pretty, waiting for me to stitch on them. I have 26 pieces in a wheel, a daily decisions wheel on my phone that are like 26 things for 2026 that I would like to try to pull up and, you know, maybe do here and there. They're not going to be any kind of focus piece, but I have like Anton Uffendale. I have Sarah Elizabeth Brooks. I have Elizabeth Stevenson that I just started. Elizabeth Weston. I have all of these reproduction samplers. I have Dwelling Place by Teresa Kogut. I mean, I just have so many beautiful, and when I come on here and show you just my Christmas and winter stitches that I have. So there's no reason why I need to start a million things this year. I have so much that I love that I want to get some progress on it. I want to try to get some things finished. So that, in a nutshell, is pretty much my plans as of right now, what I want to get done and what I want to work on in 2026. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you stayed in there the hour and a half long that this video is. I'm going to try not to make my videos so super long. Oh, I was going to show you real quick. There's one thing left on my table. I told you that I lost my stitchy bug over the summer. This is not stitching. This is knitting now. So warned. warning. I'm switching crafts. I wanted to stitch socks, but I was like, I'm so afraid. I was so intimidated. I was so afraid to start them, but I was like, I can knit. And my best friend always tells me, Lynn, hi Lynn, if you're watching this, she always tells me, you can do it. You can do it. If you know how to knit and purl, you can do it. So I was like, okay, I want to learn how to do socks. I want to do socks. So I went on Flosstube and I saw a lady. She's the Crazy Sock Lady on Flosstube. Her name is Kay Litton, I believe. Her name is Kay, and she does socks. That's mostly what she does. She does also other things, but she does mostly socks. And she puts out sock patterns on Ravelry. So she has one called the Vanilla Sock on Ravelry that is like $3. So I thought, okay, I'm going to buy her pattern for $3. Because not only that, but on her Flosstube videos, she has tutorial videos for a lot of different things that she knits. And one of them is her vanilla sock tutorial. So I decided that I would buy her pattern for $3, get a skein of yarn, sock yarn. Usually my yarns I buy are a mixture of wool and nylon. For socks is what they usually recommend in fingering weight. So I'll show you a skein I have sitting here on the table. But I thought, I'm a visual learner. I taught myself how to stitch years ago. And through trial and error, I learned how to stitch better, how to stitch neater. But it was a learning process in the beginning. And of course, as time went on, you know, you can get a little faster, you can get a little neater with your stitching. And so I decided I'm a visual learner. I like the pattern, the written pattern, because now once I've seen her videos and I've watched them a couple of times while I'm doing it, when I would start and I would cast on my stitches, and I'd look at her pattern and say, okay, for the size sock I want to do, I want to cast on this many stitches, and here's how you do the cuff. And so I watched her video and I did the cuff. Easy, because I can do a cuff. And then the leg of it is just knitting in the round. Keep knitting and knitting and knitting. So I thought, okay, I can do that. I knitted that. But the heel scared me. And I actually had to start the heel over on my very first pair of socks like 3 times, I think. So until I got it right. But she does a heel flap, heel turn, and gusset. So you learn how to do all of that. And I thought, okay, now I know how to do that. I finally figured that out. And then you do the foot, and the foot is just knitting in the round again until the length of your sock that you need. And then there's the toe decreases. So then I had to turn and watch her video again, fast forward it to where she does the toe decreases, and watch and look at the written pattern, look at the video, learn it. So finally I got a first pair of socks done back in May. In the beginning of May, I was like, yay, I figured it out. And then I was on a roll. So then I was on a roll, and I have probably made 20 pairs of socks. This is one pair. I'm going to show you this one because this one's in a Christmas colorway. This one's called Comfort and Joy by Potion and Pearls. She's on Etsy, and she does sock yarn. So this was a pair that I did. Like I said, the heel flap, the turn, and the gusset to do, and then the toe decreases. And then you learn how to Kitchener stitch, which would close in the last few stitches on your toe. And then weave in your ends, and ta-da, you have a sock. So this one, I did 2x2 ribbing for the cuff. I did 25 stitches for the cuff. I like my cuff a little longer. But the first about 10, 12 rows on this pair, I decided I wanted to do in a contrasting color. And then the cuff goes down farther. And then the leg, it's just knit, do the heel, knit, and then when I put on the yarn for the heel, I switched it to the contrast color that came with the yarn. This yarn came with this green color. Like I said, this is Potion and Pearls, so I have a skein, one that I haven't wound up yet. Potion and Pearls I not get paid by her. I just like her yarn and her dyeing that she does. This one's called Pink Peppermint. So this is another Christmas colorway. Her yarn is 100 gram skein, which is what this is. And then a lot of hers can come with a mini if you buy it with the mini for the contrasting heels, toes, and cuff. 100 grams will do a pair of socks, no problem, especially for a female. Man sock, I'm doing one for my husband. I'm making sure I'm doing definitely contrasting heels, toes, cuffs for his. Because just doing the foot and the leg big enough for a man sock, I just wanted to make sure I have enough and I don't run out. But her yarn is 85% superwash merino wool and 15% nylon. And her name is Wendy, and she's on Etsy. And she ships from the States. She's in the United States. She has really fast stitching. Shipping. Usually if I order, I most of the time have my yarn in just a few days from her. It's not like I'm waiting weeks and weeks to get my yarn from her. Now, out of the States, I don't know. But in-state, I know she ships in-state and free shipping. So that was what this yarn was from. Comfort and Joy was the colorway on this one. And she comes out with seasons. She'll come out with different seasonal ones. Because now coming up in the spring, there'll probably be some more pastel-y colors or whatever. But this was a Christmas colorway. This one is a Christmas colorway. Now, it doesn't mean you only have to wear these socks in Christmas time, but don't they look wonderful for the winter? But you could wear them if you had a green hoodie on in the fall. You know, you could wear these too. So, pretty. So that was what I was doing when I kind of lost my stitchy bug for a little while. And then I didn't do 18 of them in the summer. I've been stitching on them, here and there. Like sometimes I'll take a break from stitching for a little while, and for a couple hours I'll pick up my knitting and I'll knit. Or I knit on Wednesdays with a group for 3 hours on Wednesdays. So that is, the time I do my knitting. And then I do my fun cross stitch the rest of the time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm sorry I was away for so long, but I needed the break. I needed time to heal my back, because actually my back is not killing me. But after I would do my videos before, I could hardly walk, sitting and trying to do my videos, even just reaching, twisting, you know, in a chair to put something down. My back would be hurting so bad that I would have to sit on a heating pad the rest of the night after I did a video. So now I finally, my back is not killing me as bad. Is it 100%? No, but it's better. And Lori, I see you on your videos. I pray your back gets better really soon. I know what it feels like to have back pain. And all of you that, you know, you've commiserated with me when I had mentioned my back pain before, that, you know, you suffer from back pain, and it's not a fun thing. And I for the new year, for all of you, since this is the end of the year, I wish you guys a blessed year and lots of, you know, fun time to stitch. And that you have many blessings this coming year. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being my friend on Flosstube. And thank you for all the lovely comments and things that I get from you guys. And just love all you all. Happy New Year and happy stitching. Bye, guys.